Hello, my friends, and welcome to the show. I'm Robert Wallace. This is the place where we ask, am I choosing the way of Jesus, or am I choosing my own way? This week, we're looking at growth to all in. And yesterday, we read Genesis 22, verses 1 through 18. Now, I want to encourage you to go read that passage again. This is all about Abraham's complete surrender to God. Before he gets here, though, we have the promises of God that have been fulfilled in his life, and he has no doubt been taking stock of these along the way. To that end, I encourage you to read Genesis chapter 12 through our passage for this week. Why? Because we see over and over and over again how even though Abraham has made mistakes, he has told half-truths, he's taken Lot with him, we see how God has provided for him along the way as God is growing him to this place of all in his faith. You might be asking, Pastor, what do you mean? Well, so we know about the lie when he goes to Egypt and he says that Sarai is his half-sister, even though she's his wife. Well, according to Genesis 20, we know that she is, in fact, his half-sister. So he told a half-truth, but it was to protect his own skin instead of trusting that God is going to protect him. The other problem is that he carries Lot with him. And then when they go back to Canaan from Egypt, Lot goes with him. Then they separate in that Lot takes the lush valley and Abraham stays up on the mountain. But then Lot gets caught up in a war and gets captured. Well, God is with Abram as he goes to secure Lot's freedom. We also find that he takes a tenth of those spoils and he gives them to Melchizedek, who is a king and a priest of the Most High God. So we see a lot of things unfolding and a lot of growth in Abraham's life, largely due to the tests. God tests us, friends, and that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. But we need to look at this passage and see, all these passages from Genesis 12 through Genesis 22. We need to look and see how God has consistently provided everything that Abraham needed. God was fulfilling his promise to be with him and to provide for him. Yes, a lot of those provisions came from spoils, and they came from Pharaoh, for example, giving him what he's acquired and saying, leave. That's all God's provision. It's all God's way of bringing Abram to fulfillment of Abraham and the covenant promise that God made with him. So when we take stock of what happened with Abraham, here's the question. When we think of God's promises through Abraham, and we know that God's ultimate promise has been fulfilled in Jesus Christ, and we have the hope of the resurrection. But when we look at all the promises of God, the covenant that God has entered into, where do we see God fulfilling his promises to us, to provide for us, to protect us? There are places, no doubt, in our lives when we look back, we know that was God. No question about it. So I want to encourage you once again, go back and read through Genesis 12 through 22, taking stock of all the times that God has provided, protected, and encouraged Abram in his walk as he becomes Abraham. And then we'll talk about the tests along the way tomorrow. I hope you'll have a wonderful day, my friends. Let's ask this question. What's the Holy Spirit reminding you of right now where God has been with you, always with you, making a fulfillment of his promises to keep you, to provide for you, to protect you? And then what's your decision going to be? Are you going to choose the way of Jesus that leads to a full life, or are you going to choose your own way? I'm praying for us as you carefully consider the promises fulfilled to Abram, Abraham, and to you and me. Let's invite the Holy Spirit to give us eyes to see and ears to hear God's truth through His Word. Let's have receptive hearts and minds to receive those truths, and then let's ask the Holy Spirit and the Father to grant to us the boldness, the commitment, and the courage of Jesus Christ to go out today and be all in. I pray you'll have a wonderful day, my friends. Go in the peace of God. Blessings to you. Bye for now.